Bill Smoot. And Bill has taught for over 40 years in prep schools, universities, Ollie, and the college program at San Quentin Prison. He's also published a variety of short stories, a novel, and essays. And so here we have Bill Smoot, 3 romantic novels.
So good morning, everyone. On the last page of The Great Gatsby, the narrator imagines how in the 16th century, Dutch sailors would have been approaching the North American continent, what would become Long Island. And he writes that their eyes were looking at a world coming face to face with something commensurate to the human capacity for wonder. And that establishes a kind of duality, which is going to be central to the theme of this course. That is, on the one hand, you have the human spirit with this enormous desire, thirst, hunger, capacity, and you have the world in which that human spirit finds itself. And sometimes there's a great tension there. The world is unable to furnish all that the human spirit wants. Certain artistic works, the 4 that we're going to look at in this course, have that kind of tension at their core. The works are in some ways like human beings in that way. They're romantics at heart. And what I mean by romanticism in this context is that tension between, on the one hand, the soul that wants and the world in which the soul finds itself. What the soul wants is not just more. It doesn't want more power or more money, but it wants something transcendent, something beyond, something qualitatively different than the nature of the world. And my view is that there's something both beautiful and terrible in that tension. And I think that's what makes romantic works of literature both beautiful and terrible. So we're going to look at 3 novels. They will be Flaubert's Madame Bovary, I think one of the greatest novels of the 19th century. And there we'll look at the character, Emma Bovary, who has this enormous yearning of the soul, which finds different vessels. I mean, at one point it's romantic love, at another it's art, at another it's charity work. And the vessel is never able to contain or embody that restless yearning of her soul, with tragic results. There will also be, as I mentioned, The Great Gatsby, where, for Gatsby, that green light at the end of the dock means, at least for a time, so much more than the green light, and gives him a reason to live. And then there will be Salinger's Catcher in the Rye, where Holden has this restless and inarticulate desire for something that the world cannot give him. What that means, of course, is that these works of romantic literature not only capture that yearning of the soul, but also turn into a criticism of the world. I mean, the world in which Emma Bovary lives is flat and bourgeois and contains many characters like the town pharmacist Homais, who's only interested in his own selfish interests. There's The Great Gatsby, in which the narrator, Nick, comes to realize that the people in his social circle are at best amoral and at the end of the day, even immoral. And there's Holden, of course, who finds the people in his world mean and prone to phoniness. And then we'll also look at this beautiful, beautiful film by Terrence Malick called The Tree of Life, set in a town in Texas in the 1950s, in which we'll kind of see the materialistic post-war yearnings of the 50s interwoven with some toxic masculinity, playing itself out against people who also have that desire for, for something greater. Many people in the class will have read these works at some point in the past, and so part of my mission will be to illuminate them in a way that shows that there is this kind of tragic and romantic depth to them, and that in many cases, particularly Catcher in the Rye, which is a special, a special work to me, often contains things that that in the first reading people don't see. And I'm going to want to suggest that the flawed characters in these works, Holden, Emma Bovary, Jay Gadsby, are both foolish but also noble, and that's the tension that makes these works so compelling, so memorable, and so rich for the reader and the viewer. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.